fucking bow poison fucking shit, bitch. You're not fucking good. You're half a fucking fag. Take your armor off, you fucking bitch. I'm running 5 con, that's the only reason why you're winning. That's the only reason why you're winning.
Hello guys, Termex here, and welcome back to another New World build video. Now I know it's been a minute. I took a 3-4 day posting break because I literally posted so many builds in a short time and grinded this game. I needed time away from my damn computer, okay? I needed a moment of silence to just enjoy the game, have a little bit of fun. And I finally got my near best in slot build set up that I do want to share with you guys today. It is a little bit different, but it does have a lot of great advantages to it. And I do want to share how easy it is to actually do. And yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. It is going to be a different build. You don't need to use rapier. You could use spear. You could even use sword and board if you wanted to. But personally, I love rapier. Rapier's damage is amazing. The bleed that you can do is absolutely insane. You could even slot the artifact void gauntlet. Anything you want. It's just, in my opinion, I think it's best to use the rapier because it does scale with intelligence as well. So first of all, I am 699 gear score. I know, I'm not at 700. Shut up. I'm basically best in slot, okay? There's a piece of gear that's 693, but it's such good rolls, I'm not trading it out unless I get a 700 variance of this exact rolls. So bite me, I'm basically 700. So what we're going to be running is the artifact pants, which are the attuned leather pants. These are pretty damn good. For the third perk on them, put health. Do not put anything else, just rock health. But if you really don't want to run health and you already have enough health and you're okay with what you have, don't be afraid to put a bow perk on here, like enfeebling poison shot, or even the energizing evade shot or penetrating rapid shot if you want to use rapid shot with this setup. We are rocking a medium helmet because we are running the attuned leather pants, which by default are medium, meaning we cannot run a medium chest because we would go over the weight limit. So we're going to rock the medium headwear. You could technically do this with the boots or the helmet. I just like to do it with the helmet because it's just what I like to do. You could slot it either or. Medium helmet or medium boots, whichever one you guys are closer to building towards. For the helmet, we do have enchanted ward in health with vigor. Vigor is going to help with our bleed, poison, and burn because there is a lot of it right now, especially with the dot builds that I partially contributed to with a lot of my build videos. But yes, there's a lot of dots and it just helps out in that aspect. For the chest piece, you could actually craft this at the gypsum kiln, and it is the blighted chest piece. This has inherent nature harnessing, so if you want a set of this, you could definitely craft it. It's guaranteed shirking fort nature harness. I just got lucky and got health on one of my rolls. Very blessed to be having that. For my gloves, we also have nature harnessing with thrust conditioning and health. Thrust conditioning for anti-bow, anti-musket, anti-blunderbuss, and nature harnessing, of course, to power up the build. And then our boots have empowering explosive arrow for that 21% empower, along with health and refreshing, because I also do want refreshing to cooldown cycle, and so I can stack those rapier bleeds a lot more efficiently and get a bunch more damage out of it. For the gems on our armor, we are running the arboreal thrust ward. Now, arboreal thrust ward will give us 4% thrust damage absorption, which is 1% lower compared to a normal emerald. So instead of 25% thrust for the whole set, we're only getting at 20%, which really isn't that big of a deal because for each one of these rune glass, we get 2% nature damage, and this stacks on top of our nature harnessing. So right now we have 10% just from our gems, and then I have 2 pieces of gear with nature's harnessing for another 4%, but this can go up to another 8% if you run it on the helmets and the boots, or if you want to get wild with it and also put it on your attuned leather pants. Honestly, it helps to have it, but it's not needed. I would recommend 1 or 2 stacks of nature harnessing, but you're getting a lot more value for your survivability, for vigor, or refreshing for cooldown cycling, or even invigorated if you don't like Ren disease weaken, all that kind of stuff. And you need weapon perks. I have to say this, you want weapon perks so bad, so you can't really have everything. You have to sacrifice some nature damage. Since it's so easily made up with these gems, I would recommend you only run nature damage, or nature harnessing rather, on 1 or 2 pieces. As for the weapons, we do have the finisher and our bow. If you don't know how to get this damn syncretic bow by now, I feel like a broken record. Check out the video on my channel that says easy best in slot bow farm. I'm going to put it in the top right once again for you guys. I'm going to promote this in every video because you need to get your hands on this damn bow. It is so easy. It doesn't take that long at all, and it's so much better than paying 200,000 gold on the trade post. Definitely worth your time. For the finisher, I do not have a third perk yet because it's so damn expensive, but if I were to choose, I guess I could actually choose with you guys. Let's do that real quick because I see so many questions about me and my rapier and what am I going to choose on my rapier. So we're going to look at it together. What would I do at this very moment if I had the resources? So let's go take a look at the gypsum kiln and look down at finisher, even though it's called Domingo's Blade. I do have the dark matter. I think I just need to buy a weapon matrix, but you could actually put quite a bit. You could put a boreal attunement, which is actually really, really nice. It does not look like you could put any weapon perks. I'm not seeing Sundering Riposte. I'm not seeing any, and I guess that makes sense because we already have the Tondo perk. Honestly, if you're going to be running Riposte on this, I would go Rogue, but I don't see many people running Rogue. So just for the raw damage, I would almost say just run any attunement. For this build specifically, run a boreal attunement because it's going to help out with a boreal, obviously. And you want to slot in the arboreal rune glass. Now, I've been seeing a lot of reports that people are not able to put the arboreal augmented gem into their rapier, which is really weird. I don't know if that's a bug. If you upgrade this, maybe you're not allowed to put the gem on there. I'm not too sure. But if you can put a gem in your finisher, put the augmented arboreal gem because it's going to convert 40% of your damage dealt to nature and inflict that nature damage over time. But now a lot of people are going to say, why are you running this? Because it scales off of focus. It only scales off of focus if it's the higher stat comparative to the base weapon stat, which in this case would be dexterity, and our dexterity is miles higher than our focus. We just want that nature damage because we have 10% nature damage from simply our armor alone, and then 2% from the nature harnessing. That's 14% nature benefiting this gem right here, on top of the damage over time dot. And also for the bow, we have the same exact gem. For the amulet, we have health, thrust protection, and shirking dot cleanse. Shirking dot cleanse has a 5-second cooldown, but we remove 1 bleed, burn, or poison when we dodge an attack, which is just amazing. And I recommend this on any light dex build because those Rain of Arrows bleeds are really freaking deadly, man. Or any fire staff procs are just insane, and it helps you so much. Basically a second life, because most of the time those damage over times will get to you without a healer. We also have a ring with thrust damage, hardy, and bloodletting. Hardy for the second dodge in light armor without draining, bloodletting to make our bleed last longer on the finisher and do more damage and get more benefits from keenly jagged. Thrust damage actually counts towards your empowerment cap, so only run thrust damage if you're not hitting empowerment cap. But I will say, if you're hitting the empowerment cap of 50%, run nature damage instead of thrust damage. But because we're not, thrust damage is going to do just fine. And then our earring is subjective to what you want to do, but nimble for the stam regeneration, refreshing toast for potion cooldown, and healthy toast to drink a mana pot. I would argue nimble is better than regenerating right now, and nimble is just always going to be best in slot in my opinion, especially when you're trying to move around. And I get this question so much. People are like, how do you have so many attribute points because you guys cannot hit the 150, 150, 350 split? Well, let me get into these armor things and I'll explain that right away. For our resistances, we do have 35% thrust, 12% fire, 6% nature. This is done by our 5 emeralds, 2 rubies, and 1 amber. And that's just because nature damage is pretty rampant right now. I mean, I'm building for it, and fire damage is pretty rampant. I would almost argue if you really want to trade one of these emeralds for a fire or arboreal one, if you think 35% thrust is too much, but honestly, it's really not. There's so much thrust going around. Heart rune, whatever you want. I just prefer the cunning heart rune of stone form because of the bonus damage reduction. Now, into why I can hit these attributes. If you look at my jewelry, the mithril jewelry gives plus 38 points comparative to the old jewelry. Even the name jewelry is only 32. I'm not sure this is a bug or not, but I'm pretty sure it's not because it's the only thing that also scales because weapons got more points, armor got more points, but the only way that jewelry gets more points is when it's in this mithril format. So I'm pretty sure if you want best in slot jewelry, make sure it's mithril, because if not, you're missing out on 18 attribute points if you don't have full mithril. I'm even missing out on 6 right now. So with the attributes, we are running 350 dex, 150 int, 111 con. You only really need 110 con, so when you pop your 40 con food, you are at 150 con. But why are we doing this? With intelligence, you do get 5% bonus damage to backstabs and random crits, 5% damage over time to afflicted targets, 10% damage on light and heavy elemental attacks, and a flat out 15% damage with your elemental damage, which does indeed function on your attunement which is nature, which is a element, and it does also help your conversion with the damage over time. So it's really, really good. If you want more in-depth math testing, it's actually my video from 2 videos ago where I go over if 350 dex, 150 intelligence is worth it. There's a lot of math in that video. I'm not going to repeat myself here. But if you want to know more of the logistics of this build, I recommend watching that video to get a better understanding of how this works on a deeper level. For the build, the Rapier Bleed build is pretty simple. I like to run Flèche. You could, of course, run Evade or Riposte, or even if you're a madman, you could run Flurry. I mean, I've seen some people do it. I personally would never do it because I suck and I don't like being up close that often. But if you want to run it, the availability is definitely there. Just make sure your blood tree looks like this because you're going to get the important skills. You really don't need Light Edge and the Heavy Puncture, in my opinion. All you need from blood tree is just right here. Over into the bow, you could do this so many different ways. I would just not recommend Rapid Shot right now as it doesn't do a lot of damage. And with the attunement cooldown right now, you're not going to get that bonus damage on every single arrow. I recommend Boom Arrow regardless, especially if you're using Empowering Explosive Arrow, because you could Boom Arrow and then shoot your Poison Dot on the ground, because hitting your Poison Shot on the floor doesn't consume Empowering Explosive Shot. So your Poison Shot will do 21% more damage, but then your next heavy attack, for example, will still get that 21% in power because now it is finally quote-unquote hitting a target. If you don't need the mobility with the Evade Shot, I just like to move around a lot. Definitely trade this out for Rain or even Pen Shot. Completely up to you. I just feel like Evade Shot and Flèche in tandem is really, really nice for movement and controlling 1v1s or even 3v1s. But that's really it, guys. I wanted this video to be short and concise. If you guys do have any questions, I literally respond to every one of your guys' comments. I truly appreciate the support on the server. You guys have been freaking amazing. A lot of you have been recognizing me and saying hi. Even fighting some of you guys has been pretty damn fun. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, anything, let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe so you never miss out on another build video from me or just New World bow content in general. Also, if you guys can do me a favor, hit that like button down below. It heavily helps out my content get spread out to more people in the New World community. Appreciate all the love and support, guys. Stay safe, and I will see you guys later.